have the word. Can you hear me well? Perfect. So first of all, just thank all the people here in the audience and through streaming. And as my colleague just said, we are going to present the conclusions of the technology transfer from yesterday. At my left, I have Ignacio Caño, who is the responsible of the industry area of INCIBE, and me, Diana Suárez. I'm a specialist on cybersecurity industry in INCIBE. So INCIBE, within the just looking for something to go through the slides. Next slide, please. So INCIBE, within the activities they do to support the cybersecurity area, they establish a bridge between offers and demanders in cybersecurity, which will allow for them to have an international positioning very strong. Within these actions, what do we do? First, developing of clusters and supporting the existing companies. And secondly, what really relates to us, it's solving technological challenges that companies show us through the cybersecurity sectors. And finally, the new companies and the entrepreneur spirit through the incubator and the accelerator that we have developing in INCIBE, and where we listen to the needs of the market and the organizations. As you know, the digital environment has established a before and a after in the society and the organizations regarding digital transformation. And together to this process of digital transformation, we have this role of cybersecurity. As you have already seen, the threats have evolved continuously, and they are more and more sophisticated. This makes us to have stronger regulations, like the protection data regulation, which allows for the digital users to give them as much trust as possible. This is why three entities in cybersecurity are very important, and they try to respond to these challenges somehow. First, we have the industry, which are the ones that know the needs of the end users and the cybersecurity needs. Then we have the academy, the researchers and universities, which will give the professionals and they will give some responses to these challenges. And then INCIBE, which, as I already mentioned, establishes a bridge between these two areas, which is the industry and the academy. INCIBE, regarding the transfer in innovation and development, we have different actions. For example, the excellence centers, in this case, the National Excellence Network, the RENIC. Then we have scholarships, excellence scholarships, which take place through research. And finally, the national conferences and other actions that we put into place, such as the cybersecurity spaces and some awareness sessions, such as Eurocamp and other options. So once we know about the needs, how can we help the companies? Well, on one side, INCIBE goes to the cooperation and participation of the cybersecurity agents through three actions. First, by interviewing companies, where after talking with them, they will offer us their needs. We will establish some challenges maps, will be sectorized, and actually We have them published on our network. These are the trends files, and it's a very important opportunity to start in cybersecurity. And then once we identify these areas through the networking and through these panels, we provide solutions, and the most important role, which is managing these solutions for them to reach the industry and to put in contact the universities and researchers with the organizations. What specific actions do we do in INCIBE? Well, first, we analyze opportunities and trends. We have some files like drones and connected cars, cyber exercises, and things like that. All this is published on our website, where you can also find some success cases which allow companies to know how this demand is moving on, where to focus on, and the market potential. Equally, on the other hand, we have an internationalization guide because, as I said, one of our bets is the internationalization of the national cybersecurity industry potential. And how do we do this? Through a guide route for countries such as Brazil, Colombia, Chile, where we give them information about economical indicators so they don't have to start from scratch. What do we get through this? Well, create a very successful cooperation model between the cybersecurity demanders and the organizations such as INCIBE that puts in contact these industries with the universities. And then, and something that we have been able to celebrate in this event, we have created the first event of a connected car. And it's been quite a big success. The forum has been very crowded, and my colleague will specify the conclusions of this workshop. Thank you very much, Diana. Well, first of all, we don't aim to solve all the transferring problems, which, as you all know, are very complex problems that not only affect security, but also all areas of the Spanish companies. So what we aim for is, within cybersecurity, to offer as a neutral environment, not only for the goals of the academy, which are sometimes out of alignment with the goals of the industries, so that these goals can be aligned, or that we can reach win-win situations where more understanding is achieved. So we are seeing that all these agreements are reached through minimal units, and these units are the projects, and this is not easy. And as any complex program, it requires very detailed solutions that take a long time. So, as a conclusion, we need to work in workshops and events where we can discover what are these common projects where we all can win and get these things within our alignment and our goals. Generally, these kind of projects follow very concrete schemes. These are pilot projects because, in the end, they are based on very innovative technologies that haven't been tested before, and they have to be tested in real environments. And these environments are end users, so big companies that are the ones that are going to be the first buyers of this product, and they are going to show the applicability of these projects and some spin-offs and business models that can be scalable at an international level. So first of all, what we have to do is foster the demand. This is a very starting in area. And so we're looking for public infrastructures that demand all these products, but also small companies and users. And here we have all sorts of tools that allow these entities that don't have the priority of cybersecurity to help them to take that first step and put them in touch with those cybersecurity providers for some projects and not some Another very important issue is to implement the offer possibilities, so technological areas and the people. So how their facilities are going to allow to do some tests on these products, because the more you fail, the more you're going to learn. So INCIBE has created a network of labs, but there's still a need of putting some order into these labs, that is, give more visibility to the services and to facilitate these services not only to certain users or goals, but to different types of users, not only within the business environment, but also in the research environment. And finally, to reduce that gap, the difference of alignment between the academy and the business world. And we can get this with the tests. So sometimes these tests are done in the research centers and then they are forgotten there, and their application must be in a different area. So the goal is to transform them so that they are viable for an end user that requires this cybersecurity product. So, of course, this is only possible if there is some protection of the proprietary rights, because otherwise we would have a normal agreement, and that is not what we want. What we want is to foster innovation through keeping the property rights in the regions and protecting these rights and allowing them a competitive advantage in the future. And finally, the talent and the technical competencies of the small and medium companies, and they must come from the technological centers. So, just to conclude with the technological session from yesterday, first we had a panel which was aimed to companies where new opportunities were given as well as new challenges, and where the participants were very highly experts from companies such as Mafre or Renfe or Telefónica. And then we had another panel which was focused on research. And here we had the University of Malaga, the Computational Center of León, CEDETI, and the most relevant entities that we could invite. So what were the conclusions here? There are three areas. First, the challenges that we haven't been able to break yet. These are still frontiers and lags that are inhibiting this transfer. The first one is the need of experts and hybrid profiles that attend these roles. Also the role of the universities to adapt these profiles that the demand is requiring, not only now but also in the future. The speed of today is not enough, so we are demanding a better adaptation of the schedule at universities to what the environment is demanding, and there is a lack of financing instruments. We don't know if the problem is that we don't know what is lacking or the diverse of things that are lacking. We also mentioned that from the buyers that it's very difficult to hire very innovative products to the startups, because we are also hiring the maintenance of these products, and we always have the question is, what happens if this company disappears? What happens with the maintenance? So we suggested some rescue tools that will guarantee the buyers that support in case that the startups disappear. Another question that is also a challenge: how to create talent teams through new projects. Here, the potential solution goes around the success, real cases that already exist, not only nationally, those that we saw at in the panel of the connected car, but also internationally. For example, we saw some success cases, like how, and also in Spain, how to improve our projects at an international level. And then another challenge in this case could be that organizations like INCIBE should still be going the gap, the bridge between the different companies and the entrepreneurs to create new opportunities through projects. And I think we mentioned some specific cases, like through Renfe, it would be a very big opportunity, the creation of some smart tools that can learn from the specific cases that take place in a company. So what are the opportunities as a conclusion to this session? Well, the public and private model is successful, and the dynamizing area is basic. Also, to keep on supporting the financial programs that go around projects, and we still have to improve there a lot. But it's a way of creating employment, and that captures some financing. And the money is given because they are offering some guarantee that there's going to be good results in the future. And third, to create new working groups to guarantee those opportunity projects. This can be done through spin-offs. And a model here that usually is quite successful is through these workshops that I mentioned, like the one we had this afternoon, is creating some agreements. You have this product, I have this, and let's create something to take this product to the next level. Why? Because our organizations will not allow us to do this, but we have to do this because we are invincible and because there is a good environment for us to start, and for this product that is going to be very competitive. Also, it was mentioned the support of SEDETI in European projects. This is a very difficult environment, especially for cooperative projects, but it gives a huge visibility to all the member states. And this is an example that something that it takes a lot of work, but if you make it work, it gives very good results. Also, to foster the financing at university through different companies. There are many different models of cooperation, with an ad hoc basis. So I have a project, I speak with this company, so this is my challenge, please help me out in this. This is working, although probably the visibility for this is not very big, but sometimes this is quite fast. And finally, the innovative public buy. This is quite innovative in Europe, and in Spain we have seen already some success cases, and what they aim for is when the solution is not in the market, it's a mechanism that puts in touch the end user company, the one that are going to buy the solution, and the technological centers and the companies that are going to provide it. So in Castilla y León, there's a pilot experience with this, and we think, and definitely the entities that participated in this session, they mentioned that they had a lot of hope considering the success of past initiatives in this and the acceptance of this model. Probably it has some issues in itself, some bad parts, like the legal mechanisms. They always require some bureaucracy, which it would be ideal to eliminate, but it's not always possible. And the final conclusion is to create working groups in sectorized domains. So when we start, for example, with our challenges that you can check out in our website, I think there we hit the spot, because if we have a user that it's the buyer and you don't speak to him in his own terms, he is not going to buy from you. So So he will only give a good result if you take him by his hand and you explain him and you treat him well and you explain him his opportunity and how he's going to be able to use cybersecurity. So this is only one more element, but it's a key element, and sometimes still they don't see this as a very differential thing. So it is important to create these working groups and to foster the participation of startups, also in Horizon 2020, also foster the innovative public sale, so increasing the network, like INCIBE, the lab network in different domains, and these labs to be open for everyone, to create these services and to make public these services for everyone, and foster the acceleration of technologies in research and development centers and pilots, always with a case use, because if you show a case use, people understand what this means. It's a business opportunity, it's an economical profit, and that is what companies understand. You need to show a product that it's viable. That's how they will get it. So you need to create a use case, even if it's very small, in a very small domain. Just internationally, in selling it internationally is not that small. But the startups that are having success are the ones that have products that don't have any problems and in very specific domains, and that you can expand to everyone, and usually that is enough. And that foster the participation of international and European instruments. And finally, this afternoon we had, and also I wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to comment that this morning in the Connected Car workshop, 30 of us were there as a representation of the top van and some universities and end users, and some companies that know about this industry. And our conclusions here, we saw that this was a very successful model. Through the workshop, we discovered, and they mentioned this, they mentioned, I didn't know how powerful was Spain, the products we have, the possibilities of cooperation to create new projects, and until you don't create that workshop and you put everything together, people don't realize it. So from there on, they have mentioned that they want to keep on working on this, that they want more editions and more working groups to show the projects. So some specific projects are priorities, but all of the projects. So how can we position the Spanish industry? That was key. So we have to bet in the proposal of cybersecurity for cars. This is something that is innovative for Spain at a European level, and it's being positioned at a European level. The cybersecurity level of the car, nobody's working on this at this moment. So if this company, this Spanish company makes to position this, it's going to be very powerful. And then also to work with other systems or that don't have enough reach. Also working on autonomous car groups. So here we could see that some universities or representatives of organizations from vehicles, they had some projects at a very long term, and the industry is not going to give priority to this because the industry has very more pragmatic goals at a short term. So everything that they don't see as very capable in the short term, they are going to do it. So when you put all these together, they realize that they cannot go for both things. The long term, so they have some projects in the long term that are very good, and projects in the short term that are more pragmatic and that are very useful for the daily routine. So we're going to create a working group with the assistants that have agreed to the cooperation and coordination problem. We consider that an awareness of the industry is not needed, but it is needed the awareness of the end user, of those that use cars, and sometimes the problems come because the users don't understand the systems. And then it is very needed to work in standardization, so to create an strategy on the threat management of cars. This would be a very disruptive area. So, for example, there is a new system, 40OS, which controls all the control units of the vehicle, which can be more than 100 in the new vehicles. So every control unit comes from a different manufacturer. So that would be a product that, if it can be positioned as the first one in the industry, can be the owner of the whole market, because they are going to establish all the standards. Thales is, and they have another operating system that is very new. So the Spanish industry should go for some standards, at least within those that we control, the smart cities in Spain, because maybe some others come from Germany, and in Spain that is useless. So within those connection environments between the vehicle and the external area, which depends on the cities, some standards can be developed and positioned and then be exported to other member states. Well, I hope that this explanation has been understandable. However, we will give all this in writing in the following days.